Okay, so this exercise, um, everyone, it's a 1 point perspective, and of course, the feeling you are going to get from this exercise is that you are down on the ground and you are looking upward in the air. So that's the feeling you must get from this exercise. Now, the first thing we are going to do, and you will follow me as we go along, we are going to create an horizontal line. I want you to look closely where this horizontal line is going to be on your page. Whereas in the last exercise in our normal view, the line was towards the center of your page. This one is going to be down below, like about here, because we want it to appear that we are down on the ground looking up. So we are going to be drawing a line across, an horizontal line across as best as you can, and the line must give the impression that you are down on the ground and you are looking up. Again, if you have more than one lines like I have, you don't necessarily have to rub it out, but I'm going to do this. Once you make your lines lightly, you don't really have to be going over to rub each time. So do that for me, and when you are finished, you can let me know. What you're going to be doing is follow whatever I'm doing. I will tell you when to go ahead. So what I just did a while ago is I draw an horizontal line low down on my page. So you are going to make sure that this line is up. If this is your page, it's about here, down low on your page. Did you get that? So for new persons, when I draw, you draw. Make sure that that line is low down on your page, right about here. Michael, you have that one, Michael? As soon as you're... Huh? Go ahead. Alright, so for you which you have a really big page, use half of your page. So you can just use half of your page and that will be fine. Alright. As soon as you have done that, Michael, you can let me know. I'm waiting on you. Okay. Now the next thing you are going to do is that we are finding towards the center of our page what is called the vanishing point. The vanishing point is where everything seems to becomes very small and cannot get any smaller. So we're going to make a little mark on the line towards the center of this horizontal line as best as you can. If it's a little bit off, that's fine, not to worry. When you have made the dot, you can let me know. Not supposed to take very long. Yes, everybody have that dot? Alright, then we are going to draw now a line from about the corner of our page here towards the center of the dot. Again, keep your lines lightly. So right from the corner of the page right towards the dot. If it's a little bit off and not exactly the corner, that's fine. But this is how it must look. Go ahead and do that one. Alright, beautiful. Now again, bear in mind that the aim of this exercise is to give the impression that you are flat on the ground looking up in the air. Now the next line we are going to draw, again keep your lines lightly, is we are going to draw a line to this corner of our page. In construction it must be lightly done to the same little dot at the center. One over on that side going that way, and the other as best as you can from there coming this way, and tell me when you have it. Remember, keep it light. All right, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, the next thing we are going to do now, we are going to attempt to draw some trees. These trees are going to be slightly different from the ones that we did last time. I'm going to call these trees Italian cypress. They are the trees that grows rather majestically straight up in the air and can be found mainly on campuses or homes of persons who are kind of well off, rich we would call them. So um, we are going to draw a line. Firstly, we are going to draw like about 4 lines. One, and these lines must be straight, going up horizontally. And I'm going to draw mine first, and then you are going to follow. Make sure you can use your pencil to make sure that they are straight. So you can follow with your pencil to make sure that they are vertical. And one about here, and then the other about here. So you're going to do that on one side. As soon as you have done that, let me know. All right, that. Is that my call? All right. All right, Teresa, you're finished. Okay, I'm gonna wait on you. Dakari, how about you? Okay, okay. All right, nice. All right, good. Timothy, you're finished. All right. On the opposite side, you are going to do the same, like from about here, making sure that this line is as straight as you possibly can, using the edge of your paper to determine whether or not it's straight. And we are going to do about the same amount, making sure using the edge of your paper, just holding your pencil straight up. Keep your lines light. Okay. Alrighty. Waiting just a little bit more. Trees are finished. Okay. Nice, nice. Now I'm gonna kind of draw. The trees are almost like the shape, almost like carrots. With the smallest part of the carrot pointing up in the air. That's how the Italian cypress trees are. So the shape almost like carrots, with the smallest part of it pointing up in the air. So I'm gonna do one here for you on this side, and imagine that it's a carrot, and the shape that you are given is like from here to here, and we're doing the same thing on this side. Only now there's a little part that I want you to pay special attention to. Watch how I'm doing this now. This part is the part that I want you to pay attention to as I am doing this. It's like a carrot shape, but it have something that looks like that on that side. So it's like that, then down. But I don't want you to make it too smooth. I want you to make it a little bit rough like that. And then on the opposite side, you are going to do, you know these three, right? Yes, and right, and ah, and on this side, you're going to do the same thing going up until you come to a point. All right. So go ahead and see if you get that one. And then you are going to remove the line from the center. You don't want this line again or the line that runs through it. When you reach right up to the line at the top, you stop. When you are finished, you can let me know. Okay, I'm waiting. Beautiful. Nice, nice. Then we are moving down and we are going to be doing a little bit smaller but the same kind of effect, just a little bit smaller, and we are moving with it, creating a rough edge. We don't want the edge of it to be too smooth, and we are moving like this on the opposite side, the same thing, making sure that the edge of this tree is not smooth but looking as roughly as I have in mind. And so I'm going to go ahead because you are going to be doing the same thing over on this side, the same procedure on this side. All you're doing is making sure that the edge of the tree here is jaggedy, jaggedy jag. You don't make it look like a saw, but they are pointing upward. The jagged edges are pointing upward, not outward, but upward almost. And then you remove the lines from out of the center and the line, horizontal line that run across, you just rub it out where it goes through the trees. Make sure your lines are straight up and not leaning too much to the right or to the left, but kind of straight up. And you are doing the same thing for each of them, a little bit smaller in each case. So every time you go to the next one, it must be a little bit smaller than the one before. These trees are called Italian cypress. And then you rub. Are you getting that? Everybody okay?
Yes, almost finished. Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. It's the same thing. It's uh-huh. It's just repeating the same thing, removing the lines from the center of it.
Done.
Okay, somebody's finished before me. All right. So when you are through doing that and removing the lines from them, we do not want this line again because that line was only just to help us to determine where we would end the top of our trees. So we get rid of this line.
Sir, it makes me feel like I'm laying down, but looking up is not so much.
Okay. So if you want, you could actually extend. You see this first one? You could actually extend the leaves up a little bit. It would give it more impact. If you extend the leaves just even a little bit up more, you could do that, and it will exaggerate the feeling even a little bit more that you are up looking down. Right? And the same for this one, you could carry it up just a little bit more, and vice versa. This one can go up a little bit more. Once you do that, it exaggerates the feeling of up looking down. So you could extend it just a little bit more, and you would get that feeling even a little bit more. It magnifies that feeling just a little bit more, that you're really up down on the ground and you're kind of looking up in the air. And if you have the space, you could put even a little one further here, and that is how much you can exaggerate even what you're doing, that much. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing after that, we are going to put in some mountains in it, but the mountains cannot be high, because when you're down on the ground and looking up, the mountains seem to be lower than usual. So what you are going to do in this case, we are putting in some mountains now. Watch me. Your mountains must not look very too high, but I want you to make them not more than this, as low as this. So your mountains are going to be rather low. Past them, they must not seem to go through the tree, but behind the trees. Keep them low, and that is your mountains. Keep your mountains low and keep them slopey. Don't let your mountains seem to be too rolling. but slopey. So your mountains there, they are going to be a bit low. Now there's something that we did not do that we are going to try for this class. I hope that it works. And the root of the tree, you don't have to be seeing the root of the tree too much, because this tree, actually the growth of it goes from down in the thing there. Now I'm going to do a little thing, which is a little trick, and I'm going to see if you guys can catch on. We want to show that there are some leaves here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing this on either side. See if you can catch it. They are to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and it's just to give a rough kind of feeling. To the left, to the right, and it's a feeling you're giving that there are some like leaves that look like that somehow. To the left, to the right, and don't do it too smoothly. You don't want it to look too smoothly, and you are doing it on either side. So watch me over here again. Before you begin, watch me. To the left, so you do some like to the left. To the right, you can go a little bit up. It's like just some marks, but you must follow me how I mark. Follow me how I mark. It's just some effects of leaves you're trying to give. To the left, to the right, but a little bit above. To the left, to the right, a little bit above. To the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. And you can go on the other trees and you do the same thing. To the left, to the right, just above. So if you do one down, one up slightly, one down, one up slightly, do not darken them, one up, one down, and it gives the feeling that you have leaves on that tree looking that way. Alright, go ahead and put in here to the left, to the right, and you get smaller with them as you go along. To the left, to the right. And when they are too far away, you leave it out. You can't get it in, because when anything is far away from you, what you'll find is that you are not able to see some of the leaves, so you leave those blank. When you're through doing that, you can let me know. Finish?
Yes. No, sir.
Okay, just giving us a little bit more time. Alright, everybody have their drawing pencils?
Yes,
Alright, we are going to give the trees now a little bit of coloring. Look at what I'm doing. I want to put in a little bit of coloring in the trees, and I'm going to do this. So I'm putting in some, like the trees have a certain kind of, I want it to be a little bit darker. Now each tree is going to be darker than the next. Each tree is going to be darker than the next. Watch me first what I'm doing. I'm going to do one and then you go. So this is going to be my darkest one. Watch me first. Notice our shade. I kind of shade diagonally, meaning I kind of shade this way, not this way, but kind of this way diagonally. And you're going to watch me first before you try to attempt to do this. Alright, go ahead now and you're going to do yours. And do it on the same side that I am doing it, because I have something that I want to tell you to do. As soon as you have done that and you feel that you are fine, you let me know. Don't worry about the lines that you had put in it before. Okay, nice.
Done.
Nice.
Finished.
Okay. Then the next one we are going to do it, but it's going to be a little bit lighter than the one before. We must not make it as dark as the one that we just did. And if it gets as dark as the one that we just did, you have to go back and darken the first one. So if you darken this one like I'm doing now, and it look like it's the same, you go back and darken the first one some more, that it looks a little bit darker than the one. So each one must get lighter. Each one must get lighter. So if they look like it's the same, then you go back and darken this one a little bit more, because you want each one of them to look a little bit lighter than the one before. Each one must look a little bit lighter than the one before. So if it is that the second one looks darker, you go ahead and darken the first one some more, so the second one don't look like it's the same. And then the next one, right, then the next, alright, then the next one must be a little bit lighter. And if both of them look the same, you go and darken the one before a little bit more, because you want each one to look a little bit darker or lighter than, than the one before. So the first one must look the darkest, and the other one look lighter, and the next one look lighter, and the lightest one will be the last one. So each one of them must give the impression that they are darker than the one before. And you can look at them and tell and make your adjustments. So as things goes in the distance, they get lighter. So that's what we are trying to create here. Each one must look lighter as it goes in the distance. and you will get the feeling also of perspective. So each one, and your drawing pencil now is good for doing that. Notice how I shade. Each one must look lighter than the one before. So we are trying to see if we can achieve that on one side. So this one is the darkest one. This one gets a little bit lighter. This one gets a little bit lighter until you have the lightest one. And as I said before, if you look and see that this one is as dark as this, then you have to go back and change, try and shade the one before a little bit darker, so you get the
What
that.
about the other side? I want us to complete the other side.
So each one must get lighter. Each one, and then you can go over on the other side, and you are going to try to do that. Each one of them. So the first one is the darkest one. Yeah, yeah, Alexis. Yeah, yeah, I'm in her class, is it? I'll call her back. Alright, cool. Later, later. Uh-huh. Alright, we finished one side already.
Not yet.
Alright, no problem, no problem, because you want to make sure that this one is the darkest one. So you can go back and darken it some more and make your adjustment. If you think this one is near to it, just go back and make your adjustment and fix that. Don't take care to make it too nice or too even. Just put in your coloring, and then each one gets a little bit lighter as it goes into the distance, because when things are further away things go from you, it's the lighter they become. And then we'll go on to this side and we will do the same thing.
I'm I'm done with the both sides.
Okay, so you're going over onto the next side.
Oh, I'm done with both.
What is Ura, Michael?
Yes.
Oi. And each one of them get lighter.
Yes.
Nice, nice, nice. All right, so we have to wait on you then, Michael.
Okay.
Or you rather you will have to wait on us. That's good. So again, making the first one the darkest one, and as you go into the distance, you are going to get lighter.
Done.
Hi. Every
Done.
everything?
Yes.
Wow. I am telling you, my students are getting better than me. I'm telling you. Nice, nice. So the first one is the darkest one. And then as you go into the distance, you get lighter. You make your adjustment. Look on it. So it must be very obvious, guys. Look on it, test it, that each one gets lighter and lighter and lighter. So I want to make sure that you have that done, because I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to give something now and see if persons get that one. Let's see what happens there. Alright, just making sure that this one for me is the darkest one. Yeah. When things are darker, they come closer to you. Huh?
I'm over checking mine.
Right, just double check to make sure that each one gets a little bit lighter. Nothing is wrong as you go into the distance. Give it a little check and see. Since you have the time. Alrighty. Alright. Now, one of the things that we are going to be doing now is that I'm going to be going after the road. Watch me carefully now. This one is not an easy one. This one has done in a lot of folks. We are going to try to do the road, and watch me how I do it now. I'm shading this way horizontally, but I'm going to get dark here, and as I go down the road I'm going to get lighter until I am lightest down the road. So I'm darkest right here, but as I go down the road I am getting lighter, and I'm keeping the shading horizontally. I want to keep it that way, going across this way. But as I go down the road, I get lighter until.
So the bottom's the darkest, and then
So right here at the bottom, Michael, is the darkest, but it fades away and get progressively lighter as you go towards that vanishing point. You remember the vanishing point down at the bottom? But you must not see the change. Try not to make an abrupt change. It must just get lighter and lighter, but you cannot tell too much where the change. You know that it's changed, but you don't want it to be obvious or too obvious where you are making the change, right? So we are doing this, but we don't want it to be too obvious where we are making this change, but we are getting lighter as we go down to the vanishing point. Make your adjustments as you go along. Keep your pencil horizontal, shading horizontally. You can always go back and darken what we call, this is the foreground. The part that is closest to you is called the foreground. We can always come back and darken it some more so we get the desired effect that we want, getting lighter as we go in the distance. Now this creates a feeling of what is called a feeling of perspective as well in doing so, because anything that is close to us, even the nearest part of this road, gives the feeling, if you darken it, it will give the feeling of perspective to the part that is closest to you. So right here it is darkest, but as it goes away it fades. You do not want to show nice, you do not want to show where the changes take place too much, but you are just going to make sure that you fade it away into the distance, and it gives a feeling of near and far. The road that is closest to you is not only wider or bigger, but it is also darker than the part that is far away from you. The part that is far away from you will appear lighter and smaller, and thus you are creating this feeling of being able to move from this point of the road down to the bottom of the road. So you can move from the top of the road here down to where the bottom of the road closest to the mountains. You can move, walk down that there, and go and call a friend or somebody. So you're here, make sure that this is the darkest part and you feel that way about it. And somebody tells me that they are finished.
Yes.
Aye, that means
And
we are doing well. Okay, now the next thing that we want, we are going to shade the grass, you see, but I want you to give the grass the same kind of feel, but lighter. I don't want you to shade it darker than the road, but you are going to use the same kind of effect that you were doing on the grass. Now we are going to imagine that the grass is on either side of the road, but we don't want it as dark. So here we go. You can shade it through the tree as well. So you are going to shade it diagonally the same way, but you are going to keep it light down here. But as you come up this side, you get darker. But you are keeping the same shading, the same diagonal shading you must have, but you want to keep it light. But as you
so
come
when it goes up, it gets darker.
right, when it comes like the road, the same kind of feeling like the road. When it comes up closer to the nearest to you at the foreground, it gets darker. So it's lightest.
So when it goes up, it
So,
goes darker.
so it's lightest down by this mountain, but as it comes up to you, just like how you did the road, it gets darker closer to you. But what we don't want is to have it the same dark as the road. What can we do if it's the same? Alright, I'm going to show you. All we have to do is to darken the road a little bit more, because as I said before, we want the road to be the darkest. So we just go there and darken the road a little bit more like that and fade it out just the same. So you go and darken the road a little bit more and fade it out, so that the grass and the road, there's a distinction between the both. Notice now that you're not seeing any pencil line again with any division, but what you're seeing is some toning. So keep the grass light. Keep the grass light. Don't darken it too much. The darkest part should be closest to you, but we don't want it as dark as the road. And we are going to go over on the other side, and we are going to do the same thing. We want down to the mountain to be the lightest part, and as it comes up towards us it get darker, but it must not be as dark as
Both sides.
eh?
Me too.
Go again. You're getting it?
And we're finished with both sides.
Oh Lord, I am slow. Guess what we're going to put in now? No. If you have it looking like that, shadows, remember about your shadows. Where is my light coming from? I want the light to be coming from the right hand side of the page. So watch what I'm going to do now. Watch me carefully first, guy. I'm going to darken this side of my tree so that it appears that the light is coming from over on the opposite side. So I'm going to darken this just a little so that it appears that the light is coming from the over this side, which is the opposite side. So I'm darkening over on the left hand side of the tree, therefore giving the impression that light is coming from over on the right hand side of the tree. Oh, what are we doing? Go ahead and do that, because you seem like you want to race me, no man. Go over on the opposite side. The left hand side of the tree you are making a little bit darker, giving the impression that light is coming from the right hand side, shining over to the left. So it's like the sun is getting up, or the sun is over on that side. We don't draw in the sun, but we're giving that impression. So over on this side, and we get lighter with it as we go along. Remember now, you have to get lighter. So just like how you do it lightly for the shading of the trees, you have to do it lightly. And we'll go over on this side, we do the same thing. Shade over on the left hand side a little bit darker, give the feeling that the sun is coming from over on the right hand side. And we do the same thing with all the trees, but we get lighter on all the trees when we are doing this. So over on this side, we give the feeling that light is coming from the right hand side of the tree. And we do all of our trees and we get lighter. The trees that are farther away from us, remember, we have to get lighter, although we're doing the same feeling, but we have to make sure that we get light with the shading as well to match what we want, etc., etc. Alright, same kind of feeling. Light is coming from that side. When you're finished with that, you let me know.
Done.
Hi. Hi. These children are getting on. Alright, so the next thing that we want after we are doing that, Michael is finished, Dakar is finished, who else is finished? Teresa, you are finished? Rush, Timothy?
No.
Okay, giving you a little chance. Timothy, you are finished?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, nice. Roshana, how about you? Alright, who can tell me what is missing now from the tree? Something is missing. We are here talking about light and where the sun is coming from. What is missing?
Sky.
When the light hits the tree, what will happen?
Sunset.
It starts with S.
Sunset.
Go again.
Sunset.
Shadow. The shadow, the tree must have a shadow. So here's what. Watch me know what I'm going to do. My shadow, do not make your shadow too broad and do not make it too pronounced. But the shadow is going to fall across the road on this side. It's darkest at the foot of the tree, but it fades out afterwards. Darkest at the foot of the tree, and then it fades out. And we are going down the road looking like that. Darkest at the foot of the tree, and then it fades out. Darkest at the foot of the tree, and each time it gets lighter as it goes in the distance. As it goes in the distance, it gets lighter. So you have to remember all of those things. It cannot be the same dark as the one that is closest to us, or else something is wrong. It gets lighter as you go down the road, and it's on the opposite side as well, because the shadow affects everything. Darkest towards the foot of the tree, and it gets lighter. Darkest towards the foot of the tree, and it gets lighter as it fades out. Same thing over here, but as we go in the distance, it must show that it is getting lighter. Darkest towards the foot of the tree, and then it fades out. Same thing applies to all the trees as we go along, and we should have something that looks like that. How are we looking? Alright, finish.
Done.
Give me a minute.
Done.
Okay. So,
Done.
right. So
Finish.
what you would have learned as well is that as objects go in the distance, they get lighter. Whether it's the shadow of the tree or the trees themselves, everything gets lighter when distance affect them. So anything that is in the distance is lighter. Now what we are going to do is that we are going to do our mountain a little bit, but we are going to do the mountain in a soft color, one shade, one flat shade for the mountains, but do not make them any darker than the tree. Keep them very light. They are in the distance, so they cannot appear dark. Your mountains are in the distance, therefore keep them light because they are far away from you. So do not darken them terribly, or else they are going to appear as if they are near. We do not want them to appear that they are near, so we cannot darken them. They must be the lightest things in this piece of work. Your mountains are going to be the lightest in this piece of work. Keep your mountains very light. Do not darken them, shade in one direction like you see me doing, and we keep the mountains in one direction. The sky is therefore going to be the lightest thing because the sky is the furthest away from us. So we will leave the sky with that white look because it is the lightest thing and the furthest away from us. And thus we are finished 2 minutes after 6. And let me hear everybody say amen when they are done.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Prof. Well, thank you, Prof. Thank you, Anissa. And now